If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait. If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait.
Welcome back and welcome in. This is such a fun show this time. We all got what we've been wanting. It's been a long time coming, but we're here now, and I could not be happier if you can't tell by the confetti that's still behind me. How you doing today, Dylan? How you feeling about this firing? Are you happy? Are you sad? How you feeling?
I'm ecstatic. We got 2 wins this weekend.
Yep.
Got a win on the field, win off the field. So honestly, super stoked. Felt like one of those things that like you were expecting, but you wouldn't believe it until it actually happened, just because we held on to it for so long. So, just man, I'm glad for a change.
Yeah. I think we got 4 wins actually. Beat Mississippi State, Billy got fired, Miami lost, and Florida State lost. It's just,
True.
what a football weekend. It really, I don't think it could get any better. Yeah, so kind of diving into to the Mississippi State game. Give me your thoughts, give me your opinions, on just your outlook of the game. We'll give, who we thought the best players were, whatnot, but just, give me a rundown of the game as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, going into the game, you could just feel the stadium was like a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like the vibe was just a little bit different. It almost was like a sense of everybody was collectively on the same page, and the environment was going to turn toxic this weekend if he didn't get fired. And I thought just kind of off rip from the very beginning. Obviously, a bad start, like first drive of the game, getting scored on. I thought just like overall, the first couple drives of the game, I thought, man, we have a chance to just kind of blow this team out, but we're not going to.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. To me, it just felt like the USF game, where we had every opportunity to just kind of blow them out of the water, and we just didn't. I mean, it goes to the level of, every single game of Billy's career, we play to the level of competition that we play against. Like, we will never blow a team out, and we'll never lose by a lot. I don't think we'll ever lose by a lot this season, just because we have a defense to keep us in it. But overall, man, I was just really frustrated with the entire game. Frustrated with the injuries on the defensive side. I thought overall it was like just really impressive, like seeing a ton of just fresh faces on the defensive end, whether that be, like Flowers or getting Ben Hanks out there or Laganza or even Alfonso Allen, like just a ton of just guys who we haven't seen a whole lot of this season, and still see a result that we saw this weekend. Like, I thought overall just really impressive, because I think Jeff Levy's a good coach. And I think overall just really impressed with the defense. And I think offensively, I'll talk like starting off with like a DJ standpoint. He just shows you that he's got all the tools. He's got all the tools to be really good. He impresses you with some of the throws, like the one he threw quickly to TJ Abrams, over the shoulder. Thought that was really impressive. And then he just makes the mental mistakes with, trying to throw the ball through like triple coverage sometimes, or like double coverage. It's almost like he's trying to make the same throws that he was making in high school. And these aren't the same high school guys, right? So I think he's got all the talent. I'm just ready for him to have the right guy in there to develop him. And I think that's when we'll see the DJ that we're all expecting. And obviously it takes more reps because, the guy's been out for a long period of time and been struggling with injuries. So, and then on the other side of that, man, just like some of the play calls are just epitome of Billy's career. Like 3rd and 7 on the 20-yard line, running a QB sneak with a guy who just never, ever really runs the football. We got, it just doesn't make sense to me. We get down to the goal line on like our first drive where we end up just kicking a field goal. It's 1st and 7. We ran the ball down the field really well, and you just don't hand the ball off, and you throw it to Amir Jackson, like a guy who barely gets any targets. That to me, like it doesn't make sense. Now, obviously, like he should have caught the ball, and Dallas is also wide open. But why are you running it there? Like, be more efficient. Like I would have. I think Jaden got 150 on the game, but I thought he could have got 200. I thought he could have got 200 with a couple touchdowns. So, I mean, it's just, and then obviously the last play of the game was just the icing on the cake. Last play of the game for us, where we're rolling DJ out on 3rd down and 1 with Jaden. I mean, for me, it's just like when you think there couldn't be a stupider play call right there, he just surprises you and throws one out there. It's almost like, the coaches that we're playing against, they're playing 2 different games. Like Billy's playing 2 different games. Sometimes you just got to understand, like you got to play best on best. Like you got to know a run's coming here, but you're not going to stop. Like you got to stop this run. And I think I would have been okay with it if we ran Jaden ball and they stopped us. But overall, man, just frustrating game. Glad it's over.
Yeah, I think my takeaway too, especially just like pinpointing on the 3rd and 1, right? What I think Jaden Ball was averaging like 5.6 yards a carry, and we decide to snap the ball, roll out, and then Billy's argument for after it was, well, that was a smart play. That was smart for him to take the sack and to go down because it caused Mississippi State to use a timeout. I'm like, okay. But if that's the case, if the whole point of this was we're going to run a throw because someone was open, I saw it clear as day on the TV. Someone's open. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was, but you see someone open, and yet that's what you said. It's the epitome of Billy Napier's time at Florida. Just boneheaded, just moronic decisions. 3rd and 1, you don't give it to one of the best running backs in the country. He quite obviously, every time he touches the ball, he can make something happen. You mean to tell me that handing him the ball, if that offensive line just blocks for half a second, that he's not going to get that 1 yard? But instead you say, right? So even if he doesn't get it, even if he does not get it, you get the same result. He goes down. Mississippi State has to use a timeout. So that's the part that frustrated me, that when he said that, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like you're sitting here bouncing back and forth. You're trying to make it seem like it was a genius move. And in all reality, it's just a boneheaded move. I, who am sitting on my couch, should not be able to sit here and say, that's stupid. Like, that's dumb. You're doing too much. It's been that way through this whole entire time. Honestly, on 3rd and 1, I wish he had ran a trick play just to really just put the icing on the cake. He should have just ran one just for the heck of it, just to seal it.
Like Travis Etienne.
Do something, honestly. Like, do a triple pass and then throw it down the field to DJ Lagway at this point. That's what I'd have loved to see. But going through the game, right, it did look like we could blow this team out. Like, I was like, this team's not good. This team is not good. And, it just the start of the game, watching them score and start doing the Gator chomp, I was like, that is what this team has come to. Nobody respects this place anymore. No one respects it. But it just felt that way. I'm like watching it, and then the game goes on, right? Again, I'm watching Jameer Grimsley get absolutely cooked out there.
And
cooked. I was like, I'm getting text messages and not to like name drop, but Vern texts me and he's like, he tells me, I'm not even joking, right before the big play happens, right in the beginning of the game, that Mississippi State throws it deep. He goes, I don't like the way that there's a setup out there. I'm not going to throw names of who he said was set up weird. But he's like, I don't like their setup. Something's going to go deep here. It's not going to be good. Got the text right here. I'm not joking. 3 seconds later, they go deep. And I'm like, this man, obviously he went to the NFL. But he is watching this, and I'm like, how are you a DB coach and you can't tell, you can't fix that? You don't know how to stop that? So that's the part that's just like collectively as a whole, I'm like, this team, this coaching staff, this like massive group that is, but my bad, sorry to slow you out, Vern. But it's like looking at just this team as a whole, and looking at just this team as a whole. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. It just, you can tell that the coaches who are out there, I'm like, where'd you find them? And I think a smart comment that was made, right, is you'll see how this coaching staff is after this season, and you see where people land, where you see where they land jobs at, right? I don't remember who said that. I think it was Dan from Stadium and Gale said, you're going to see it after the season when you see where guys get coaching jobs at. But looking at just this game, right, it just felt, again, like you said, it felt like the USF game. Could never pull away, could never do what you needed to do. My brother's at the game. He's sitting over right by the end zone, right up against the wall. And he's recording, and there's a play where we throw it to Hayden Hansen, right? And it's called incomplete. And you got, I want to say it's like a little bit of a deeper drag route that Dallas Wilson goes on. And that's a money throw for DJ last year. I think it's a money throw for DJ this year. To be honest, even hurt, he could probably hit it. Doesn't throw it to him. And it's just, I feel like collectively, I almost feel like the team is done. I feel like the team was kind of done with Billy. Like, I think they know, like, after Texas A&M, DJ getting embarrassed in front of his hometown, I think he was just like, I'm fed up with this. Like, I need to find somebody who's going to get me to where I want to go. Go ahead.
Imagine how like Ball felt on that third play. Like, how do you not trust me to get that yard for you? Right?
Just like Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl. You throw it and it gets picked off. Like, man,
I think of the receivers too. Like, we thrown out here all this 12 personnel. Like, some of these receivers are honestly probably thankful that these guys gone. And maybe, I don't know if you heard Billy G speak at this press conference this week. He said that he's going to try spreading it out. So, and hopefully he does. Like, I don't get the personnel usage, and I think that's kind of also been like a knack on Billy. I don't know if that's fully his responsibility. I don't know if you know that or not, if that's more position coach or if that's him, but
I'll be honest with you, even if it is position coach, it all falls on Billy. He's the head honcho. He's the head guy. Right. So if he sees something that should be fixed, he should go fix it. And I think that's my problem, right, is that it almost felt like he just wanted to be, like, friendly with everybody, every single person. We'll kind of transition into Billy being fired here and kind of shift away from the Mississippi State game because we ended up with a win. It honestly, like we said, it was a great weekend. You get a win, and we got what we wanted out of it. But Sunday comes, we start seeing the tweets, we start seeing the chitter chatter about, hey, they're calling the coaches in, and coaches come in on Sundays. They come in to watch film and whatnot, but it's never tweeted about. They're like, oh, hey, people are coming in. And then the tweet drops. It's like, oh, at 2, they're doing a meeting with the players. And it's like, okay, we're kind of picking up on what's happening here. I'm over here getting the confetti ready. And then the news drops that he's fired, right? And I feel like just kind of rewinding a little bit to after the game, watching that press conference, I think he knew what was coming. He was getting emotional. He said he's going to go. He kind of threw a little bit of jabs, like, oh, I'm going to eat good tonight. I'm going to eat something good tonight. Like, kind of hinting at, like, oh, that buyout money is going to buy me some good food here. I may be thinking too much into it, but I think that everybody as a whole knew this is over with. Like, this project is done. It's time to move on, and it is time to figure out what's next. I'm going to let you talk about him being fired and, your thoughts and everything like that. But I do have a question for you. Just it's opinion-based. Doesn't really matter now, but just for the heck of it. Do you think if we win by multiple scores, do you think Billy's still fired? Or do you think that the decision was already made, and because of going into the bye week, he was gone?
Yeah, I think no matter what the outcome of that game was, I think based on the previous games, I think USF kind of sealed the deal for him and his fate. And I think all these, even though, Scott said the conversation was had Sunday. I think these conversations have been taking place, and I think it was already kind of set in stone. This is kind of the perfect time for us to let him go. I think especially after, the transfer portal rule just changed and going into a bye week, I think this is, I think it's the perfect time. And I think if you kept him around any longer, I mean, you can go both ways where some people say, man, we should have did the Ron Zook thing. You could have kept him to the end of the year, still fired him. It could have been secret, whatever it may be. But I think you had to do it just for the fan base. I think there's too much toxicity around the program. And I think you just got to, give the fans something a little bit different, right? Try something different. It's just like cutting the cancer out, man. Obviously, my opinion on him is, just like everybody else's, I thought he was a good person. And I thought, he built up Florida structurally, I think, pretty well, and left the program probably better than he found it, and left the program in a way to where the next person who comes in probably will be better off than, whenever they had came around whenever Billy was there. So, but again, great guy only gets you so far. I want to win football games, man. I want to win football games. So there's just a lot of things that frustrated me. Do I feel bad for him that he was fired? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, the guy got life-changing money, and on top of that, he was given everything. He was given more staffers. He was given more support, given the longest leash that I think either me or you can remember any other coach having at the University of Florida. And I think on top of that, what he did with it is continue to stay stubborn and not change anything about his ways. Obviously, I mean, you heard what he said in the press conference a couple weeks ago, this is what got us here. But, he didn't have the mindset of the bigger picture, what's going to take us there to the next level. He was too focused on, what got him there, what got him the Louisiana job and got them to 10 wins at Louisiana Lafayette, not what's going to take, the University of Florida to a national championship. I think, to me, that really aggravates me. Somebody not, willing to be open and change for the betterment, not only for himself, but for the other people, for the people he hired and for the people he, made that commitment to bring on campus to bring a championship to the University of Florida. So, for me, I don't feel bad about him at all or about the decision.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect subject to touch on, is that he loves to make that comment, right? Of, well, this is what got us here. This is what got me here. I did good at Louisiana, and then this is what got me the Florida job. And it's well, yeah, that's what also got you to 2 wins and these losses, and barely getting a third win. He doesn't touch on that. It's yeah, okay, it got you here. That's great. But also in life, in any form of life, you got to be willing to mold and change, or you're not going to grow. If you're not willing to take criticism, and I think that was his biggest part, is he could not take criticism at all. When he'd get criticized, and every single time he talked, you can go back and show me any type of interview with him. I'd love to know a time that he blamed himself or he took accountability, because he never did it. And just like the comment says, Billy wanted to be an OC. I think that Billy getting passed over, I think it was by Coach Sark, that he got jumped for the offensive play calling. And I feel like that really got to him. I think that when he beat Texas, I know he was just on cloud 9, but there comes a point where being stubborn, being hard-headed, thinking that you're right, thinking you're the smartest man in the room, thinking that you're just that there's nothing wrong with you, that it ends up hurting you. It ends up, doing what happened. Yeah, cool. I don't understand why these coaches get buyouts for sucking at their job. Us regular folk, that if we suck at our jobs, we get fired, and what happens? It's well, hey, you're out the door, goodbye. But you're a coach and you suck at your job and you walk out of there filthy rich, and everyone's well, look at his kids, look at that. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I do not care about those kids. If you handed me $21 million, you could call me every name under the sun. You could do what Bet did, and you could spit on me in front of my son and my wife for $21 million. He's fine. Those kids are fine. I'm just being honest. I don't, it's mind blowing to me that people are well, look at that. I don't care. Don't care. You sucked at your job, and you're going to get paid for this. And yeah, you may go back to a G5 school and you may do great there. Louisiana might want you back after this year. They're not looking so hot. They might say, hey, Billy, we see you got some freedom here. Come on back. This is home for your family. They know this place. Come on back. But I cannot comprehend someone like that. But I've kind of already touched on it by going live. I wanted to get your opinion. How do you think this affects the players with Billy being fired?
I think obviously, like, you see that they had a close relationship with him, in all honesty, and I think maybe that hurts a little bit. But I think these are smart kids, man. I think these kids realize that it wasn't working out. I think they would be dumb to not realize it's not working out, and maybe this next step will be better. I think realistically, man, I think good thing that Billy did was got a bunch of kids in there that want to be Gators and want to stick together and want to win here at Florida. So I think, there's going to be kids that leave, and then there's also going to be a coach that comes in and may tell some kids that, hey, we're going to bring somebody in your position, and they may leave or tell them to leave. So, obviously there's going to be, some people that are gone, but I think we're going to keep the core together. I think the core guys stay, and I think we'll have some guys that go and test the waters, but overall it's temporary pain, right? For these kids. Like, this is obviously to better them, and it's a decision that the university made to better them and their careers. I mean, if I was a kid in college and I didn't have a good coach, I would want myself to have a better experience in college and win games. So I'm sure there's a part of them that feels that way, and we're never going to hear nothing about that. But that's how I feel about it. And I think going back to like the Billy situation too, I think one thing that was a detriment to him as well is he hired just a bunch of yes men. I think they had a lot of yes men in the building, and you need somebody in this profession. I think in most professions that's going to combat with you, maybe has different opinions, or maybe can call you out or hold you accountable. And I think he just didn't have that. I think he had a lot of yes men that were buddy, and tried to be each other's friends, and I just think that was his detriment at the end of the day, and it led to his stubbornness. So you got to have somebody in this job that holds you accountable. So I mean, you see it with Nick Saban yelling at Lane Kiffin in the past, or Kirby Smart, or whatever it may be. Like, you gotta have guys who have different opinions and different mindsets than you.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been really. Yeah, you did miss the Billy's fired party. I popped confetti and everything, just like the picture right here. I think that a part of it for me is I know these kids are going to be sad. Like, these athletes are going to be sad. This is a coach that recruited them. This is a coach that brought them in. This is a coach who sat in their living rooms and got to know their families, and then brought them in and then became family. But I also think that at the end of the day, every single one of these athletes are competitors, all of them, and they want to win. Because what happens is if you're such and such player, Dallas Wilson, for example, Dallas Wilson's a 5-star coming in. You don't think that he has phone numbers from all these guys that were on the 7-on-7 team with him, or just guys that he's met at camps and different things like that are texting his phone like, bro, your coach is sorry. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, bro, you're getting off, but you're still losing. Like, what are you doing? They hear it. They know the chatter, everything like that. So yeah, I do think that it's a part of them. It's like, dang, like, we just lost our coach. We lost this guy that we care about, and who cares about us? But at the end of the day, I think what's coming up for them, as long as Scott Strickland holds true to what he said, I think that there's better times on the horizon. Like, it's coming. Like, those better times are coming. I'm not one to try to like go, well, because all these people that want Urban Meyer or whatever, they're longing for those 08 days and 06 days. That feeling that you had there is not coming back. you got to move forward and we got to find a new feeling. Just like when the basketball team won the national championship, it didn't feel like when the 07 team won it. Like, it didn't feel that way. It felt different, but it felt great still. And that's why I think that we'll talk about it with our coaches a little bit later. That's why I think who they bring in is very important to who stays on this team and who doesn't stay on this team.
Yeah, I think honestly, we might have lost more guys if he would have stayed the coach than
1,000%.
Us bringing a new one in. So that's what I truly believe. I think these guys are going to put their careers first, and they're not stupid, and they have, on top of that, you got parents and you got influences from the outside that maybe help you take your blinders off a little bit and say, hey, maybe you need to go pursue a different opportunity, so maybe you can enjoy your college experience a little bit better, or, have a different projection for, maybe a future career. So in the NFL, I genuinely think we probably would have lost more guys. And I'm surprised we didn't this past year, this past offseason too. But I think the end of the year probably helped. And I think some NIL contracts probably helped as well too. So
I think the DJ effect helped too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that they saw something from him. He came in every game that he started and finished, we won. So I think all of that played into it. And I think that, that was Billy's saving grace. But moving forward, Scott Strickland came out and announced that Billy Gonzalez, will be the new interim coach, that Russ Callaway will be the offensive coordinator, and that O'Hara will be the one who will be calling plays. How do you feel about all of this? What is your take on this? And how different do you think the team looks over the next, 5 games? I think it is.
Yeah, do I think it'll look a little different? I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but just a complete different change from like a scheme standpoint. Like, I don't think you can change much mid-season, especially with like your playbook and like the plays that these guys know. So I don't think it's going to change drastically. So like I really don't expect Billy G to come in there and Ryan O'Hara to be calling plays and we're just blowing teams out. I see a lot of stuff on the timeline. People are real optimistic. What if we keep Billy G at the end of the year if he blows these teams out? You can clip this. It's not going to happen. Promise you, it's not going to happen.
That is all clickbait.
Yeah.
That.
At the end of the day, like, do I think it'll be drastically different? No, but it's nice to have a change. It's nice to go into, these games now with probably no stress. And I feel like the players may feel a little bit of that too, that there's no stress or expectations, and maybe they play a little bit more freely.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a drastic change. I think what you're going to see is you're going to see maybe plays called differently at times, just situational plays. So if it's 3rd and 1 and you're trying to win the game, maybe not have your quarterback drop back and roll out and fall to the ground because you want to use their timeout. Maybe they hand it off there. But I think that's where it's going to be a little different, just because I think that there's going to be more opinions in there, whereas Billy was like, it's my way or no way. I do think we are going to see more receivers lined up out wide because we have a receivers coach as our interim head coach. I think that he wants to show that off. But I definitely think that, like you said, and to be honest with you, and I hate to say this, but we're not going to beat Georgia's. We can go beat the Kentuckys. I don't think we're going to beat the Ole Misses. I think being in the swamp, I think that we can beat Florida State. I don't think Florida State's good. If Stanford can beat them, and I'm pretty sure does Stanford have an interim coach right now or no? I can't remember.
I have no idea.
Regardless, Stanford can beat them. I think that with our talent and an interim coach, I think we can beat them too. But I don't think it's going to look, like I said, I don't think it's going to look that much different. I think that there might be a few different things. You might see, again, 4 receivers out there, even 5 receivers out there, just because why not? I think Billy G he doesn't know if he's going to be retained by the staff, so he needs to show, hey, I know what I'm doing, and maybe he gets an OC job for, UAB. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be that much different. I just think that it could be a little more fun, I guess.
Sure.
It's kind of, in a sense, we all want to win. Even with Billy Napier being the coach, we all wanted to still win. I could not pull against the orange and blue. I've come on here and said that. Now we get to be kind of carefree. I know, regardless, even if we did win out, Billy Gonzalez is not going to be our head coach. It's not happening. And if so, Scott Strickland needs to walk back to Mississippi State. Leave his stuff. He just needs to walk back, and all he can take is the clothes on his body. But if just looking at it as a whole, I honestly was really hoping that Russ Callaway would call plays. He's done it before. I know that he's a very air raid type guy. I think he could kind of implement some of that stuff. And we know that DJ likes to throw that ball deep. So who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. It's all going to come down to it. We'll see. It's going to be fun times. At least now we don't have to stress and wait and see if he gets fired. It all happened. It's all over with. So with that being said, and transitioning into Dan from Stadium and Gale said that the University of Florida apparently has narrowed down to 4 coaches. And that's what they're locked in on. I don't know who those 4 coaches are, but that's just what the word is. Now, I will say he said on his show, so this isn't me putting information out there. You can go watch it on Stadium Gale yourself. He said that there's no dark horse, mind-blowing person there. I have my idea of who I think it is, but that's that. But I feel like that's really quick for them to narrow down to 4 that fast, unless they're just like locked in. Like these are the guys. This is who we're going after, and that's that. You know what I mean? Like maybe they just know what they want. Maybe they've been talking already. Who knows? What is your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could obviously change. It's not like guys could be added to it, taken off, whatever it may be. I think it was at 6 originally. I think they vetted 6, and it being narrowed down to 4. To me, that kind of tells that makes me think of one thing really, and it's like either getting told no, or they don't think they have a real shot at getting somebody. Like I think maybe Marcus Freeman's out of the cards now a little bit. I think the smoke was going around a little bit, and I think maybe Notre Dame might have changed some things around to make him a little happy with the situation. So I think that could be the case, or through their vetting process, they could have kicked one of these guys out for one of the reasons. I don't know.
Just kicking tires to see.
Right. So I mean, I don't get paid to do this. This is just my guess. We put 2 together. So yeah.
I will say I know that, and who knows? I think that there's a lot of it's coach searching season. It's hard to say fast, but if you look at it, I don't think that they've just set their eyes on 4. And if they did, I think that they have been told from just behind the scenes and just kind of chatting around that there is real possibility and there's real talks and real consideration that a couple, if not all 4 of these guys will come there. But going into that, I'll say, you and I, we've picked 3 coaches that we'd want, and then 2 that we're like, we don't want them. Yeah. So what we'll start off with is we'll start off 1-1 with the ones we don't want. So who is number 1 that you don't want?
For me, number 1 that we don't want, and I think I'm almost positive he's one of the 4, is Brent Key. I know that, we talked a couple shows back about potential guys we liked, and, he was one of my three, but just like looking at it a little bit more, he just doesn't do it for me. Like he doesn't really win the games he doesn't really win the games he should win, right? Like he'll beat somebody like let's say Missouri, and then he'll go and lose to like Appalachian State.
Yep.
Something along those lines, right? So he wins the big games, which is intriguing. But if you look at his overall record, it's not that impressive. And also, too, like there's been talk that if he comes, like his OC might stay behind,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't know if he really meshes well with just kind of DJ at Florida and kind of what their game plan is with Haynes King. I don't think you can use them the same.
Yeah.
And I don't think his style of offense or his scheme kind of matches up with Florida too.
Yeah.
So for me, like that's the guy I would not feel really confident about. Again, like me and JB picked like realistic candidates. We're not going to pick somebody like John Gruden that's thrown out there, or I don't know, somebody like Cliff Kingsbury. I know you like Cliff Kingsbury, but I know he's not a real candidate. We're picking like legitimate guys. I think that he's one of the four, but I wouldn't be overly ecstatic if he is if he's our guy. Yeah, and I think I think unfortunately I think he's toward the top of the list for them, and I think he should be more like a last resort type of guy. So
yeah, so I'll go. I got Brent Key on my don't want list as well. I think that the University of Florida, I'm a firm believer that there's identities that lie within the roots of a university, and that all stems back from somebody. Florida, when they've won national championships, they have very high-powered, fun offenses. He had Steve Spurrier, the fun and gun. Urban Meyer brings the spread in, and he brings, dudes they could go out and win gold medals in the Olympics, and he's just slinging the ball around to him. He's got a quarterback that could run through a brick wall. I'd love to see him go heads up with a Mack truck, and he'd probably come out on top. But you look at Brent Key, and like you said, that's my main thing with Brent Key is he's the type of guy who, with Florida, he could go beat Georgia, but then he's going to go lose to Kentucky. And at the end of the day, looking at our schedule coming up, or he'd go beat an Alabama, on one of the schedules coming up, and then goes and loses to some random, to like a USF or something. That's not going to work here. It's not going to work with a fan base. He's going to come in, and I think a big thing is, and this is going to play a part in a lot of these guys I'm going to talk about. I think if he comes in, I think we lose a big amount of these guys, like a massive amount of these guys. And I think then the talk of Billy being in the same realm as Ron Zook, that, he brought in guys, he brought in really talented guys, and Urban came in and he used those guys and he won championships. And then obviously Urban had his own guys, but Brent Key is not going to come in and keep those guys. I would guarantee Dallas Wilson is not going to stay and play for a Brent Key. So yeah, it's not it for me. It's really not. He doesn't have
that spunk to him either. Like I feel like we just need a guy with spunk and some of that fire that he brings with him. Again, just get guys excited. I mean, Florida should be an exciting place for you to come to, and I just don't think he's the right guy for Florida. He could be the right guy for Kentucky, but I don't think he's the right guy for Florida. So yeah, I agree with you there.
So who's your second don't want before we dive into the three we do want?
I feel like this name has been kind of floated around as of recent, and it's John Summerall, the coach. To me, it's just another Billy Napier hire. it's a guy who's had some success at, you know, a G5 school and 2 G5 schools. Now he was at Troy and he was at Tulane. Now he's at Tulane. So I just don't. I think Scott, and this will help me transition kind of into who I do want. I think Scott kind of hit the nail on the head when he said that the guys who we would hire, there's going to be like a level of projection. Like we think this guy will be able to do this because there's not a lot of, you know, real proven prospects out there for us to go and grab. Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, what is there? 3 active coaches who've won a national championship. Right. And I think those guys are kind of out of the cards right now for us. So, yeah. and I don't think any of them would be a fit at Florida, in my opinion, but like there's going to be some level of projection. I think you just would have to be just hoping, like wishing for the luckiest hire ever if you hire somebody like John Summerall. So yeah. That's kind of where I'm at with Rhett Lashlee too. I know that name's kind of been thrown out, but I like Rhett Lashlee a little bit more. Rhett Lashlee is a little bit more proven because he plays in the higher conference, and I think there is levels to this game, and I think SMU is levels above Tulane. So, you know, I'm not as low on Rhett Lashlee. It's just for me, I just need to see more. But for me, John Summerall, like I think you would just be that's the ultimate level of settling to me, and just trying something out. So,
so mine is also going G5 is Alex Golesh. I know that people watch him and they're like, oh, well, he knows the SEC because he was an OC at Tennessee. And, oh, well, he knows Florida because he's coaching at USF. And they're looking at like, oh, well, he's this like outstanding coach because he beat Florida. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't hold any weight for me now. You know, if he goes and beats Miami, now I'm like, okay, now we're talking. Like this dude's competing out here. I think that he does well with what he needs. And I think that just us as Florida fans, and I'll be 100% honest, I think the reason that we look at Golesh and he's got some type of appeal is because he puts the ball in the air. He's got a mobile quarterback. Like he's got offense. That doesn't do anything for me. I've never seen how he hires at a level like this. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to this area. That's my problem with G5 coaches is that we don't know how you hire. That's why you got to go get a coach like some of the ones I'm going to talk about because it matters how you hire. You can only do so much. Who you put into positions in your OCs, your DCs, that's what matters. I don't know if you're Alex Golesh and you go out there and you tell these guys, you know, how are you going to pitch something to these guys and get them to come be on your staff? You're not. You're going to have to do what Billy did. And you're going to have to bring guys from G5 with you. And now what you were just coaching against, cool, you beat the Gators. That's fine. You got smacked by Miami. Smacked by them. So to me, I'm like, that doesn't sit well with me because it doesn't show me anything. There's more to it than just, hey, I dialed up some plays and it worked and I was able to squeak by a win against the Florida Gators, who is the worst Florida Gators team I've seen. And I feel like if you have any type of common sense, you know, you can beat the Gators. Go back and watch our video before the USF game. I said a mobile quarterback that runs RPOs is going to give us trouble. It always has. It always will. You brought a G5 coach in that doesn't know how to hire. So that's why Alex Golesh is just same with Summerall. But they're both right there, but Alex Golesh is the one that I'm like, I feel like he's more likely just because he's right down the road and the way it looks. That's why he's on my I don't want him list.
Right. You got to understand, like, too, at this point where we're at, we're able to offer somebody the type of money that may sort of reset the market a little bit. Mm-hmm. This University of Florida is not a stepping stone job. Like, this is not the type of job for somebody to come out of a G5 and for us to be settling and for us to give, you know, a drastic amount of money to somebody like, you know, Summerall or Golesh. Like it's got to be, you know, the splash hires, those big name guys, which I don't know if you want to get into, but
yeah. So I'm deciding on how we should do this because I'm pretty certain that both of our number one is the same.
Yeah, I mean Lane Kiffin, like, it's got to
Yeah.
be.
Okay. So we'll both touch on why we want him. I mean, it's very obvious. I think if you want to just give a short rundown real quick of why you want him, and I'll give a short rundown, and then we'll jump into 2 and 3 and see how different we are.
I mean, for me, it's pretty obvious. I mean, he is kind of the perfect personality and perfect scheme for the University of Florida. There's not a lot of guys that would fit perfectly. I think every guy on the list would fit perfectly. Offensive-minded guy. I think just the character. I think him being young, and I think also too, like, you got a guy who struggled through his career and who made his way back and kind of got his feet under him a little bit. And I think he's on the come up. And I think we're going to see here over the next couple months what type of guy he is in his career right now, if he believes that he can take Ole Miss to the top. Because Ole Miss, to me, has never been a team that you can take to the top. So we'll see what type of guy he is, if he wants to be comfortable or if he wants to leave a legacy, right? Obviously, it's a huge risk for him, but I think just the type of personality he is, I think obviously him, idolizing Spurrier is a huge thing. I think his family being from, his wife's from this area, or his ex-wife's from this area. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
I think his kids grew up majority Gator fans. So I think everything is pointing in the direction where it would be a perfect fit for him. And I think he's got a grip on everything now with NIL, with recruiting, with the transfer portal. Like, he's had a lot of success in the transfer portal with getting guys over to Ole Miss. I think that's maybe something that he's excelled in a little bit more than just recruiting high school guys. And again, it's something that we went back to a couple episodes ago. It's hard to recruit guys to Oxford, Mississippi.
Yeah.
So especially high school guys. So it's a little bit easier when your guys a little bit later on in your career and you got 1 or 2 years left. And when you're talking to a high school kid about spending 3 to 4 years at a location, they're going to want to come to Gainesville more than they are to Mississippi. Mm-hmm. So I think he's set up for success to kind of blow his career out of the water. And I think a lot of people are scared of it. I think one thing I'd like to touch on too is, if you are somebody who thinks the Ole Miss job is anywhere remotely as good of a job as the University of Florida, you have no credibility whatsoever. I think that's one of the most bizarre things, and I've seen it way too much this week. Ole Miss and Florida are on 2 completely different levels when it comes to the type of job, for multiple different reasons that we don't even have to get into. It's just completely obvious. You cannot watch college football or at least been watching it for a while and not think that Florida's a better job than Ole Miss.
Yeah. So obviously Lane is my number 1, and then my number 2 is pretty far down. I'm going to get pretty obnoxious on this stream if we go and hire Lane Kiffin. I'm just going to let it be known right now. Oh, dude, I will pop champagne and spray it everywhere. And just like I cleaned up the confetti, I will clean that mess up too. But I think that, again, like I just said about with Brent Key, I think that there is an identity that just runs through different places. And I think that people identify with that. And they grab hold of it, and there's just certain things that just work there. It just clicks. It's got just a connection. I don't know how to explain it. That almost sounds like I'm a tree hugger or something. But my thing with it is I really do think that certain people just fit. And people look at that at the Florida Gators team, for example. If you go and you look at the national championship teams, Billy was never going to fit that identity. I think that the University of Florida was like, oh, we need we need a Nick Saban. We need that next Nick Saban. We're not Alabama. Alabama's like that. They had this tough-nosed guy who is a leader of men, and you know what they're going to do. They all have the identity. Hard-nosed running back, great receivers, put the ball in the air or just turn on and hand it off. It's very pro style-esque. The University of Florida is put the ball in the air, have a very big armed quarterback, just all these different things. And I'm like, that like is legit. That's Lane Kiffin. Like what? I can't understand it. And I think that when it comes to this hire, you have to go to Lane and you got to give him a blank check and you have to force him to look at you and say no. I don't know what you offer him and I don't know what's too crazy, but our university is well over it's like what, $1.1 billion that the university is worth. If you care about Florida and you got boosters who are putting money into it, go get him. I think that everyone, like you just said, everyone wants to look at this Ole Miss job and go, they're the same now because of NIL. No, they're not. Go look. Ole Miss is in the red. They cannot afford. They are spending more than they have right now. It's going to come back to bite them. And I'm telling you, I saw a post, right? And I know it's just, if he accepted this, I'm going to stand on this. If Lane Kiffin especially accepted the deal that I'm seeing float around on Twitter, then he is not the competitor. He is completely cool with being complacent and being comfortable and just loving Oxford, Mississippi, and that's all there is to it. And he's never going to win multiple championships like someone, for example, like Nick Saban, who mentored him and took that on. My big thing with it is that we can offer more. So if they offered the 12 million, like I see floating around, we can offer 14.5. Is that crazy? Maybe, but you got to pay. We can go ahead and take if you, Scott, listen, you love Billy so much, take one of his famous sayings, scared money don't make money. You're going to have to pay to get who you want and who the fan base wants. You want to keep selling those seats? You want to keep packing it out? Shoot. You go get Lane Kiffin, you can charge $50 more per ticket, and I'll still go watch.
You might just keep your job a little bit longer too.
Exactly. So that's why. And now my thing with Lane Kiffin is, you go hire Lane Kiffin, I guarantee that you keep a chunk of this recruiting class together. I guarantee you that you keep a vast majority of these players. If I'd say in the 90 percentile that you keep. I'm talking about players that can return, not the ones that are forced to go to the NFL. Or even I'd say, yeah, because even I don't think there's anybody on this team right now that's going to the NFL who's eligible, except maybe, I won't touch on that. But
there's a couple.
There is a couple I think that could go, but
I think Devin Moore and Banks will go.
Well, Devin Moore will go. He'll probably be a late round pick, and he'll be there all of 4 games, and then he'll be hurt again. But I look at this team and I'm like, if you bring Lane Kiffin, these players are going to play for him. Because guess why? If you say, hey, we're bringing in Lane Kiffin, people are not. They know that name. They're comfortable with that name. They see him on Twitter. They see him in the limelight. They see him all around. He's going to keep this team together. I bet Dallas stays. I bet VB3 stays. DJ's probably going to stay. The great thing about Lane Kiffin is with DJ staying is there's going to be a quarterback competition. You're going to get these guys. Jaden Ball, I guarantee, stays. Like, you're going to keep this team intact with him. That's why I think it's so massive. But the other thing is, again, he's cocky. And I know everyone's like, oh, you only want him because he's cocky. No, we want him because he's going to be coming to a recruiting hotbed. If Billy Napier can go under 500 and can still keep the classes like he's got, I don't care how good of a recruiter you are. It's just the University of Florida speaks for itself. They're going to have money to spend. He's going to fill in spots in the transfer portal. It just is. I'm going to say these other names, but there is no other way to go. Go make him the highest paid coach. I don't care how you have to do it. Make Kirby Smart have to restructure his contract after you get what you get, but go make him the highest paid. Someone's going to do it. Someone's going to end up being paid more than Kirby is. It'll probably be Dan Lanning at the end of this year if Lane does get a massive contract by us or Ole Miss if they can afford it. But that's my big thing. Make him say no. Let's see if you're a competitor, Lane. because you can come to Florida and win national championships. You're not going to do it at Ole Miss. I don't care how much you hit that transfer portal. You're not going to do it at Ole Miss. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, number one, and it's by a lot. So I think I know who your number two is, but let's go ahead and hear it.
Who do you think it is?
Well, based off of our text messages, he's 2 or 3. I think is Eli Drinkwitz.
No, he's not in my top 3.
Okay.
Not in my top 3. But my next 2 guys, I don't feel like there's that drastic of a drop-off. I do think there is a drop-off between Lane and these next 2 for me. But there's not that drastic of a drop-off. I think these guys may be out of the cards, but you still got to try. I think Marcus Freeman for me is number 2. I think he's been there and done that. I think he has played against teams at a high level and competed. Obviously, he was in the national championship game last year, and I think he's just got that fire in him. I love the way that he speaks. He's intelligent. I think he's wise beyond his years. And I think he would kill in recruiting. I think we haven't even seen his ability to do the things that he can do because I think he's limited at Notre Dame. And again, like rumors are rumors. We don't know what is true or not, like if Notre Dame's going to make that change for him or not. But I think that's somebody you got to test the waters with. And again, I think going back to a little bit earlier, I think that could be why the list is narrowed down. He could have said no, or that he's not interested, or, again, Notre Dame could have changed something for him to where he feels like he's happy where he's at for right now.
Yeah. So, little side note here. Marcus Freeman is not in my top 3, not because I don't want him. He would hands down be my number 2, but in my brain, I'm doing ones that I think that we can go get, and I do not think that he's going to be obtainable. I think that Notre Dame, especially because they're winning now, right? And not that I think I have my take on how I think we could get Lane, and I'll kind of touch on it just a little bit at the end. But I don't think that you're going to see Marcus Freeman lose the rest of the year. They do not have a conference game that could hurt them even anymore. They're going to coast through the rest of the season, and then they're going to be in the playoffs. And a team like that, I think that they have enough talent that I think that they can get by, and it wouldn't shock me if they're in the semifinals or even somehow find a way into the dance. I just think he's that good of a coach, but that's just my little sidebar. That's why he's not my top 3. It's not because I don't like him, but he would be a closer 2 to Lane. But my 2 is Jeff Brom. Now, he didn't just jump onto this list. I just had never thought he was obtainable because he's at his alma mater, and he's the kind of guy that I don't think that you can – I think pulling him away from there, I think you're going to have to offer him, like, the bag. Like, I almost feel like you'd have to offer him what I think we're going to be willing to offer Lane. And I think that we offer him that if Lane says no. Or if Lane signs the extension and we move to like another grouping or so. But I think that Brom is such an amazing coach. Like, I think he is such an elite coach. I just think that he kind of struggles with the same problems at Louisville that he's never going to get over that hump. Not unless maybe he finds a way to get like a Lamar Jackson there again. But I think that Louisville had their one. Like, you had your once in a lifetime. You had him. You had your chance to go somewhere with him, and it just didn't happen. Now, maybe if they decide to find some boosters that want to drop tons of money and they pull a Texas Tech, but I can tell you right now, Louisville does not have Texas Tech money. But he's offensive minded. He knows how to make a quarterback just elevate to another level. I think that those guys play with an identity. I think they play hard. I just think that he is that kind of guy. A lot of people want to look at him as like, oh, he's your top 25 reaper. Like, that's all he is. And that he'll drop a game or whatever the case may be. I'm like, he's doing this at Louisville. He put Purdue into the Big Ten championship. Like, come on. Purdue, Like, that's insane. But he goes and beats Miami, and Miami looks good. As a Florida fan, it's fun to troll, but Miami is a good football team, and I wouldn't be shocked if they played a second time and Miami comes out on top. I just think they have more talent, but I think that if you brought Brom here, I do think you'd lose a few more players, a few more than what if you brought Lane. But I just think he's that guy. Yeah. I just don't know if you can peel him away from Louisville.
Yeah, I like him too, and part of him not being in my top 3 is I thought he would be maybe too unattainable. I thought Freeman I think to pull any of these guys on, I think either of our lists away from their school will be hard. Mm-hmm. It won't be an easy task, and we're gonna have to cough over a lot of money. But I feel like that's why I didn't put him on my list, because I felt like Freeman is a little bit more attainable than him, just because I feel like he's the type of guy that's gonna retire there. Like he doesn't want to go anywhere else, and he's deep rooted there with his family and everything. So I think it'd be really, really hard for us to pull him away. Sorry about my dog.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, I think it'd be hard to pull him away. Now, I will say this with the Marcus Freeman talk. I think if we get Marcus Freeman, I think we have to pay him even more than we'd have to pay Lane. I just think to get him to move down to Florida, I know there's a lot of talk of with the taxes deal and the recruiting hotbed and him not having much say in his OCs and DCs. And I will say Shelton on High Top Sports made a good opinion on this, and a great comment that I was like, I never thought of that. I never thought of it the other way, because everyone, and I've been on here saying it, that, he's never got to hire his guy. It's never been his guy, this and that. Well, how do we know he'd make the right hire? If he gets to make that hire, how do we know he would make the correct one? Because Notre Dame's been doing it, and what Notre Dame hired clearly helped to get them to the national championship. And I don't think that they just look at him and go, hey, this is who you're hiring, get over it. But I do wonder if he doesn't have, now he has to bring these guys in. Can he do that? He is a newer head coach. So can he do that? That's my only say with him. But I do think if we were to go peel him away from Notre Dame, it's going to cost a boatload, because Notre Dame will match and surpass. Again, I just think that right there would just be the simple fact that he would just want the job. But who's your third? Because I think my third's not a shocker, but I think from my other comments and my other list, it may shock people a little bit.
Yeah, I think from a personality standpoint, I think this guy is kind of 1B to Lane Kiffin, and I think, again, it'd be really hard to pull him away because he's at his alma mater, and that's
we got the same guy,
Kenny Dillingham.
Yes, sir.
I love him. I love his attitude. I love everything about him, man. I think, again, it would be really hard for us to pull him away from Arizona State. It's just a matter of how you pitch it to these guys and what they really want for their careers. Do they want to be stable and stay with low expectations and being okay with making the playoffs every here and there and 10-win seasons, or do you want to chase championships? Do you want the pressure? Do you want to take the next step in this job? Arizona State, it's a decent job, but it's nowhere near the University of Florida. And that's as unbiased as I could possibly, feel about it. So again, I think it'd be really hard, but I think it's possible. And I think that's one of the guys they were looking at too, was Kenny Dillingham.
Yeah. So he's definitely on my list. Like you said, I'm very big on personalities. I love someone who will talk a little mess. It's funny too, because there's certain sides of Eli Drinkwitz that I'm like, I like when he talks like that. But then he does other things, and I'm like, oh, this dude is such a dork. I'm like, I know that you and I kind of touched on this, while we were texting, but I don't think that he could recruit the University of Florida. He couldn't recruit Florida. I just don't feel that way. But Kenny Dillingham, I feel like he could. He knows the state of Florida. I think that he would come here. I think he's got that swagger to him. I think that the kids would relate to him as well as like respect him. I think that he has that respect there at Arizona State. I just think he's got some real good swagger to him. I personally don't think he's on the list of 4. I wish he was. I wish they'd take Brent Key off and he would be on, but I just don't see it. But yeah, I think he's got swagger to him. He's offensive minded. He's the kind of guy that he's going to that media. He told the media one day, he is like, y'all are lucky this wasn't a recruit because I get up and leave. Like, and the media doesn't like to hear that. They want to hear what you have to say. And he kind of walks to the beat of his own drum. And so, that's why I like him.
Yeah. I like what he's doing with like Sam Levitt too.
Yeah.
Like Sam Levitt. I mean, you saw how much he utilized Scatteraboo last year and you see Jordan Tyson this year. So you just, he finds talent and he uses them and he uses it correctly. So, and again, he's got that personality. He got that swagger to him. He's got the fire to him too. I love the fire, and I love the fire that his players play for him. Because if you watch his players play, man, they play hard for him. Like they go all out. So
yep. Yeah, he's definitely my third. Before we get off here, I do want to touch on the Eli Drinkwitz. I do want to put it out there that Eli is definitely ahead of Brent Key for me. He's ahead of Golesh for me. I think that he knows the SEC, so that does a little bit for me, but I still want him as far away. I just am hoping the 2 people I'm hoping get extensions is him and Brent Key. I'm like, please, like boost their money. I know you want to keep them there. You got somebody now, just please extend them, give them some more money. But we talked to us while texting, and I just want to get your opinion of it. Why do you believe that he would be able to recruit Florida?
I think recruiting is a little bit more than just the head coach now. I think he would be able to hire well. And, recruiting is also people like Katie Turner. Like, you can put the right people in place to recruit the right guys. Could also be like your South Florida connection. I forgot the guy who's on the staff right now who's got a connection to South Florida. He's like a farm to the University of Florida. No, I don't think it's Joe Hamilton, but obviously he helps. But it's not just the head coach nowadays. Like it's like these guys get really personal with their position coaches and their coordinators, guys who they're dealing with on probably a little bit more personal level on a day-to-day basis, sitting in the film room with. So, that gives me hope. I do agree that there is something a little off with him and his personality. But you can't argue the guy wins. Like the guy wins wherever he goes, and he wins in the SEC. So I would be confident that he would come in and probably immediately win. Like immediately win. I don't know how far he'll take us. I do think that we would be good in the temporary. I don't know if he would be I don't know if he'd be the answer long term, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
So I think that he would come in and I think he would have success. It's just a matter of if he would hire the right people and how that recruiting would shake, because he hasn't done a terrible job in Missouri. I mean, I think he identifies talent really well, but he also hasn't crushed it. But again, he's recruiting guys to Missouri. So I think the biggest question mark for him is obviously recruiting. So yeah, I'm up in the air about it. I have him. I actually put him down, but kind of like as my last resort type of pick for him. Like if you don't get those 3 guys that are on my list, essentially, I think he's probably your next best option. And then I like Jeff Brom too. That's his name, Jeff Brom, right?
Yeah,
I like him too. I think if you don't get those 4 guys, I think he's your next best option. I don't know if you can throw a name out there to me and convince me that he's not going to be a project or feel a little bit more confident about, winning games or winning them as quick as he would. So,
yeah, my thing with him is I think that he would do fine, right? I definitely think the idea of well, now they're going to have to build back. They're going to have to turn around. They're going to have to wait a few years, stuff like that. Like, I truly believe this in my heart. And I know, like, everyone's going to be like, oh, this is like, why are you hyping him up? But I think if Lane comes in, he keeps this team intact. I truly, truly, truly believe that Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown, whoever's at quarterback, make it a competition. Trammell could play under his offense. DJ could if he gets DJ back and DJ goes and gets the surgery that he's probably going to need. This team is an immediate contender next year under Lane. And it's because I think that he keeps them together and that Billy did a great job of bringing talent here. You're going to lose talent with Drink. I just know it. And again, I know what you said about like hiring people, but I think that Billy did have, as much as he was very vanilla in the media and vanilla to us, where he's like, oh, he's not getting angry, he's not doing this. He still did somewhat have he had a Southern swagger to him. Whereas like, he's kind of like that chill dude that's a Southern dude. He's very calm and he's just like cool to kick it with. And I think that's why some of these coaches could go recruit for him, because they got along with him in that sense. You got Eli Drinkwitz that comes in and he starts talking about 9/11 conspiracies or this conspiracies, and all of a sudden some of these dudes that can recruit South Florida and can recruit Polk County and in different parts of Florida are going to go like, bro, I don't want to be around this dude. Like, I'm not trying to hang out with this dude. This is not who I'm trying to hang out with, because he's got no swagger to him. Like, and I hate to say that because I think that he can talk a little trash. Like SEC Media Day, he gets up there and the first thing he says, he's like, well, at least we got the fight song, right? And then he proceeds to right after, like, I'm like, bro, you could have stayed right on that. Cool. You got your point off, and that would have been fine. But then he's like, we're not going to talk about any conspiracy. We're not going to talk about this or how many shots this person. Like, no, bro. Now you're doing too much. Now you're that guy who you could have swagger, but then you're just too much. And now you become a dork. At the end of the day, I know that there's other people that recruit them there, but these parents bank themselves on these head coaches. And yeah. I don't see it. I'll be honest with you. I think if Drink comes here, I think Vernell Brown leaves. I think Miles might stay. I think Miles Graham is just set in stone. But I personally think if like a Drink comes here or Brent Key, I think that you see Vernell Brown down in Miami. And I hate to say that.
I don't think Vernell ever leaves, to be honest with you. I think he's a Gator. And did you hear Miles in the press conference the other day? He can be a Gator no matter what. Vernell's the same thing. I think that kid bleeds orange and blue. So
yeah.
Again, it's how you position these coaches to the kids.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a conversation they have with him that, hey, if we hire you at the University of Florida, maybe you got to change this about yourself a little bit, because this is what we feel like you're going to need to have success here. This is a guy he's not on my top 3 or honestly top 4, but he's a guy who I wouldn't be like as pissed or worried about if we had to fall down to like a last resort or I guess settle because we get turned down by everybody else.
Yeah, like I said, I think that, and I fully again, and this isn't something, just so everyone here knows, like I'm not going to just hype Lane Kiffin up every single week that we do this. We're going to go back to, it's just, this is very fresh and the firing is very fresh. We're going to get back to touching on the games and the next game. But my thing with it is that you got to go. I mean, you literally have to go offer. I don't care what the number is. It ain't my money, so I'll spend all the money. I'll give him $150 million over 5 years if I need to. But you got to go. You just make him say no. Make him say no, because you know that this university is going to get turned around very, very quickly. But I will say, and I know what you're saying, I see, Tyler saying it in the comments. I'm telling you right now, if the University of Florida makes the wrong hire, remember this. It's October. What is today? October 21st. On this episode that I said, I guarantee that Vernell Brown would leave. I do not think that he would stay true. Not to necessarily just being a Gator. I just think that he wants better for himself. And I think if they make the wrong hire, I think that he would leave. I'm not saying that 100% with Eli, but I think that if you go get like a Golish, he's another G5. If you go get Brent Key, who His OC is probably going to stay at Georgia Tech. Can he hire somebody else? And what can he do without a Haynes King? Are you going to try to bring a quarterback here that's going to just try to ram their head through somebody and tries to act like Cam Scatabo at quarterback? Like it's just, I think there's certain guys who just are not going to fit. And I think that Scott Strickland could royally screw this up. And really, really, I think if this hire is wrong, I think you're going to see Florida set back a very long time. Like, I think we are right there. And I hate to say it like that. I feel like that's very Billy Napier-esque to say. But I feel like there's the talent is there. They cannot leave right now. That coach has 5 days to talk to him. And you get the right guy. I think that, and a lot of these players, I think, have expressed, I guarantee you go look at some of these players. Go look at Dallas Wilson. Go look at Vernell Brown, DJ Lagway. I bet they're following Lane Kiffin. I would bet it. But
I think you make a great point right there. I think this is probably one of the most important hires in the school's history, because I think if you don't make the right hire here and it's not successful, I think you're right. Like, I think you set this program back a good while.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a while for us to build back up. What would your reaction be if we got Eli?
I would be pissed.
You'd be pissed.
And the reason I'd be pissed is because, again, I think that I haven't seen him recruit to a stature. Like, again, he's not and I don't know how he can hire. Like, he just hired this OC. Does this OC come with him? And is this OC good enough to? It's fine. I'm not knocking him going to overtime against Auburn. You're in the SEC. Games like this are going to happen. But his strength of schedule is not like, you're going to get harder schedules at Florida because people want those primetime games. Like, you're going to get scheduled harder games. People want to see the 8 p.m. games with Florida versus LSU. And you see Missouri goes and plays Bama, and they just look flat. They don't look good. And I'm sorry, but I think Bama's good this year. I think they kind of got their swagger back to them. But I think that if you're that good, I think you should have been able to really hang with them and make it look a little bit more. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but I don't think he's the answer. And I hate to say that, but I think you got to go Lane, Brom, which I think Brom could come in and get him to stay. And then I think Dillingham too. But my thoughts on Rhett Lashlee. I kind of feel about Rhett Lashlee. I'm trying to word this right. I think Rhett Lashlee is a good offensive mind, but I think it's easier to look a little bit better at your job in the ACC. I don't know if he could pull stuff off like that continuously in the SEC. You're going to play talent every single week. Now that you're a 9-game schedule, you got Vanderbilt's a good team. Kentucky just took Texas to the wire. Welcome to the SEC. Texas. You just had to go to Lexington and go to overtime with them. But I think it was overtime. But regardless, you went to the wire with them. I just think that Rhett Lashlee is playing against, and I think SMU is a decent team. But again, he just barely beat the worst Clemson team that we've seen in how many years? I just don't think he's that much of an offensive guru that we're making him out to be.
Yeah.
But
I think he's too much of a risk. I think he see that would come in and have immediate success, or at least feel confident that he would. I think it'd take him a little bit to figure it out. I think SMU to the University of Florida is going to be too big of a difference. So I feel like it's too risky, right? Like I wouldn't love it. I was looking up Missouri's recruiting classes. I mean, the past 2 years he's had the 14th recruiting class last year, and the year before he has 21. So, I mean, but it's gotten better every year. But again, I think I agree with you. I think that's the biggest question mark for him. What do you think? What do you think our chances are to actually get Lane? I think right now it's 50-50 for me.
Yeah. I think you're kind of yeah, it's 50-50. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I think that it's one of two ways because we are going to, I will bet anything on it that we will one up whatever, and Sexton might might run us dry with money to go get him. But I think that we're going to be willing to drop a bag on him. You know, I've seen that Hugh Hathcock wants him. There was a a picture out, a graphic that said higher lane, and he put agreed, go Gators. You know, I know that the boosters want him, so I think they're willing to collectively put that money together to go get him. Again, it just comes down to it. Does he want this job? Does he want to come to Florida? And again, you can't guarantee. I cannot 100% stamp guarantee that he's going to come in and he's just going to hit the ground running, and we're going to be a playoff contender and then like within a year or two. But does he want that? You know, is that what he wants? I think this is what it comes down to. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If he is the competitor that we think he is, and if he wants the chance at multiple national championships, and if he wants to be that, you heard Nick Saban's wife say like the baby Gators, like Kirby Smart and like Lane Kiffin. Well, Kirby Smart's won a national championship, and you haven't. You can win a national championship at Georgia. You can win a national championship at Florida, at Bama. I will bank on it that you're not winning a national championship at Ole Miss. This is not going to happen because you're going to hit firepower that's going to hurt you. We'll see. Listen, hey, Boomer, that is this weekend. I am hands down an Oklahoma Sooners fan this weekend. I think that there comes a point when you have to decide. Do you want to be comfortable? Do you want comfort? Because you got it there. They'll probably name that stadium after you. If not, they'll name the field after you. They'll put a statue of you. They'll probably put a statue of you at every single gate that you can enter at that stadium because you're doing what you're doing for them. Or do you want to come win championships? Do you want to get paid a boatload of money and come win championships and make it happen? Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, look what Dan Mullen did with this and that. This is a much better Dan Mullen. And this is somebody who, when they talk, they mean what they say and they back it up. So, yeah, I'm 50-50 with it, and I'm only 50-50 with it because I think that he might just feel comfortable there, and maybe he does want I don't know, maybe he wants to see, well, look what I did with Ole Miss. Like, oh, yeah, I did it with Florida, but I did it with Ole Miss. But you're not winning. If you get one, okay, yeah, we slipped in and just found a great path to the national championship and made it happen, you're not winning multiple. He comes to Florida and wins multiple.
And if you're one of those people who thinks it's 80-20, him wanting to stay, and if you're somebody who thinks it's a surefire no, you don't think he's interested at all, like you absolutely do not know what you're talking about. And you have not done your research whatsoever. I promise you that this man is going to be intrigued and is going to entertain the fact that Florida is going to be a possibility for his future. I promise you that. There's too many people thinking that it's a surefire no, and they just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. So, I have no idea what it is, but I'll tell you another thing is they love to say, well, his daughter talked him into staying at Ole Miss because she loves it at Ole Miss. Okay, well, guess what? His son Knox adores Florida. Like, loves it. There's pictures of him as a little boy walking around with a Gators book bag on. And you mean to tell me that he's not in his dad's ear like, Dad, if they offer, like, you should go. Yeah, he doesn't want to play under his dad, but I guarantee if his dad is the head coach of the University of Florida, that might change. I don't care. Everyone loves to bring up that point. Well, look, Knox said he doesn't want to play for his dad. His dad's not the head coach of the Florida Gators right now. Yeah. And he said that back when Billy was the head coach of the Florida Gators. So there's that to it. Knox goes to these games. Trust me, he will be fine finding a high school around Gainesville and slinging the rock around. He's already got a name. He's got the last name Kiffin. People are going to look at him. He's going to get offers. He's going to do just fine. But if there's any say in it, you want to talk about him being a family person, I'm pretty sure that his wife or was wife, now girlfriend, whatever they are. I'm pretty sure she's an alum of Florida. There's ties here. The son loves it. The daughter is going to graduate Ole Miss. He has another daughter that's at USC. So it's not like they don't know how to be without each other. But she's dating freaking what's his face Weeks from LSU. So that stuff moves on. Family moves on. People get relationships and everything like that. But his son can spend Saturdays in Gainesville. Trust me, that's got to say so in it. Again, I just don't know what Lane wants. Is Lane comfortable? Does Lane want to make that jump and wants to jump into the water with the big boys?
Yeah,
because you're not a big boy at Ole Miss. I'm sorry, you're just not.
Yeah. There's a part of me that's scared about him holding out for the LSU job too.
Maybe
potential. So,
I'll say this: I think if he leaves Ole Miss, it's Florida. Yeah. If he doesn't leave for Florida, he's Ole Miss through and through.
Yeah. And I think that same daughter you're talking about.
What'd you say?
I think the same daughter you're talking about too grew up a Gator fan and like loves it as well too. So
her mom was a Gator. Like it's anyone who's saying in that they're trying to say that the Auburn job holds as much weight as Florida does. No, it doesn't. It does not. I'm telling you right now, I'll put this out there. I have no idea if he's going to be our coach. I'm going to be on the side of where I put on Twitter and said that Billy wasn't going to be fired. I jinxed it, so y'all are welcome. So I'm also going to say Lane Kiffin is not going to be the head coach of the Florida Gators. But if he does leave Oxford, Mississippi, he will be the head coach of the Florida Gators. Not of LSU, not of Auburn, not of garbage Florida State or UCLA. It will be the Florida Gators or nothing. That's that. And I'll stand on that. But I'm going to keep being on the side of that he's not going to be our head coach just because I'm trying to jinx it because I really, really want it. So I kind of made a offer. It's kind of going out there now. Too many people know about it. So I'll just put it out on here too, is that if Lane Kiffin becomes the head coach of the Florida Gators, I'm getting a small tattoo of a train with the Florida Gators visor on it. Just so y'all know, my wife hates the idea, but I'm a man of my word.
Probably a bad idea.
It probably is a bad idea, but it is what it is. But anyways, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. There's new times are coming. I'm really hoping that great times are coming, and that we figure this out. I'm really hoping that Scott does not botch this hire and he makes it happen, and we get back to where we should be in competing for trophies, and just being in the hunt every year. I don't want to be put at number 13 or whatever, and it's just because there's some type of hype. No, I want them to know, like, yeah, those boys are going to be in the top 10 because they got that it to them, and that happens under the Lane train. So that's all we got for you today. Again, link for the merch is down here. Like and subscribe. I was looking at the numbers today. It's saying that out of 100% that watch the lives and watch the videos, that 73.6% are not subscribed. So I know some of y'all aren't subscribed. So hit the subscribe button. Like I said, go find someone else's phone. Go grab someone random on the street's phone. Get on YouTube. Subscribe to me on there. Let's keep getting this number up. Keep pushing it up. And again, it's always repping the orange and blue. It's always go Gators. It's always going to be. Always has been. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Hit that like button before you get out of here. And you guys know how we end it. If you ain't a Gator, you know the rest.